Hello everybody and welcome back to Grand Bazaar. We are now on the 17th day of fall. This is following our very successful 2-day cooking festival that we just had. It was a very busy week for me just because 3 events back to back to back is pretty rare. I've spent a lot of time cooking and filling out my recipe book lately, so a lot of what I have for the bazaar today is food. Now, some of this food will fetch a somewhat decent price, but the problem is I don't have a lot of it. I'm still trying to get rid of these damn tomato salads, and I am going to cook up my eggplant and my yam, but aside from that, most of the dishes that I have are just a one-time thing that I've made to fill out my recipe book. I did throw a few other things in here as well, just to vary things up, and of course I have our seeds that we are always able to fall back on, as well as my last necklace. I also have some spinach that is ready to come off the field today and some carrots. So I'm a little bit nervous, wondering about how we're gonna do at the bazaar today, just because I have a feeling I'm gonna have to replace my items really frequently if I'm just selling single items. But I am, on the other hand, also bringing along a decent amount of dishes that have multiples. Apparently, I've got a couple different qualities of carrots in my field. So try to leave 2 spaces worth so that I can actually pick these all without getting interrupted, because picking these is a little bit of a pain. Carrots and spinach are both not really used in a whole ton of recipes, especially carrots. Carrots can be put into things as an extra ingredient, but there's not really any recipes that use carrot as a base. And spinach we can use a little bit later on when we start to cook up curries and things like that. But for now, I'm pretty confident just to go ahead and sell most of my spinach and most of my carrots. So the 3-star carrots I'll turn into seeds, but all of the ones that I have here I'm gonna go ahead and sell, and all of the spinach I picked ended up in my inventory as well. It's almost time for the bazaar, so just to end things before we leave the farm, what I'm gonna do is cook up our eggplant, cook up our yams. That will at least give us a little bit of variety, and it'll give us a few dishes that we have large quantities of. Now, I actually have gotten quite a few eggplants on the field, but I've turned them into seeds. I honestly do not remember the value of making roasted eggplant versus making them into seeds. I don't remember which one is more profitable, so I went ahead and started turning them into seeds just so that we can compare and have a look at that today. Here, nice and early, only 20 minutes after the bazaar is set to open, which is not too shabby. And as we can see, a lot of these dishes that I made actually have a decent price tag. $790 for one dish is not too shabby. $880 for corn cereal. Corn soup is over $1,000. Sauteed turnips are $1,000. Roasted corn is $1,200. Something like toast and French toast, or some of the baked goods like steamed bread and sponge cake aren't worth very much. But you can see that cooking is really profitable if you know what to cook. Out of all the corn dishes, the roasted corn is definitely the most profitable, and all it is butter and corn. I will probably end up making more of these because I have both butter and corn back at the house. Really need to get rid of those damn tomato salads. I had a lot of mushrooms, so I went and made myself some egg custard as well. Our roasted eggplants are worth $380 each. And what are our eggplant seeds worth? $190 each. Which is interesting because the value is exactly the same. It actually doesn't matter whether you want to cook them or turn them into seeds. The value is identical. Remembering that it's not $190 per eggplant, it's $190 per seed, which you get 2 of from one crop. So that's good to know. It's good to know that my little experiment here doesn't matter because the value is going to be the same. I still have some corn seeds to get rid of, and I will also put out my yellow pepper seeds. We'll save our grass seeds for a little bit later. And then just so that it's not all food, I will also throw out my lone ball of yarn that I have. And we're off to a pretty wonderful start here so far. I probably could have gotten away with not giving that old man that item just because it is so early on in the day, but that's alright. We've been here less than an hour and we've already made 10 grand. So hopefully that is some good foreshadowing for how our sales day is going to be overall. I'll make this guy pay double. It's still early enough in the day. It's kind of nice to get to the point now where I can take risks like that without having to worry so much. Because it seems like we always have oodles and oodles of people talking to us. It's pretty rare that people don't stop by the shop and talk to us quite a bit. We still have a really large crowd of people outside the store. We're just trying to get everybody's attention here. And I'm gonna do my very best to keep the storefront stocked in between when customers are buying things. I'm gonna have to be especially diligent about that this time around because we're gonna have so many holes if people just buy all of the single items. Lots of seed sales, which is nice. I've got lots of those. Please feel free to buy my seeds, and there are plenty more where that came from as well. Just past the 50K mark. I also brought my truffle along. I'm still kind of undecided about whether or not I want to sell this because I haven't looked into whether or not it's really all that useful to me, but it's worth a decent amount of money to sell. And I am also going to be keeping my pink diamond so that I can make even more money off of this, but on its own, it's worth $43,000. Which is absolutely insane. That is why it is so rare and difficult to come by. Unless I play the Lucky Lotto, there's a very good chance that I will never have one of those in my inventory again. So I will definitely be making the most amount of money off of that as I can. Now's a good time for me to put out my carrots. And I should also probably put the baked yams out just because there's so many of them to sell. It's not even 1 o'clock yet, and we are almost through all of the single items that we had to sell. So there's going to get to a point where we're not really going to have to change the storefront all that much. We can really just focus on the customers and selling. And it's nice, we're seeing the lady who pays double for things today. And she bought a carrot, which isn't worth a whole lot of money, but it's decent. It's still extra money. Having to ring my bell like crazy here. People's attention is waning. And this is a perfect time for me just to fill my storefront a little bit. We will put out our last food item. I didn't mean to bring bread with me. I was using it in cooking, so that's my mistake. I'm gonna hold on to that. And then if we have any more holes, the very last thing really is going to be the necklace. I do have to say though, the sales that we have right now is not too shabby. I was a little bit worried about how much money we were gonna make today, but I have to say that it's actually not as bad as I thought. I do think having seeds and other items where I have large quantities certainly helps. Oh, sorry lady, I didn't see you. I almost had someone walk away because I wasn't paying attention. And the old man keeps coming by, wanting free stuff, which I just keep giving to him. I guess because I've also had that lady come by and buy stuff for double the price twice, and I ripped that guy off earlier. Well, karma's coming back to bite me a little bit. I don't want to piss off my customers too much at this stage of the game, but we have had quite a few people chat with us, and I think that we've definitely redeemed ourselves. And we also had a big flurry of activity there, quite a few people stopping to chat with us and to buy stuff, which is great. I'm left with one hole that I'm not going to be able to fill, but the counter is going to remain mostly full, and it should still take a little bit of time to get through what we have here. Almost to the bottom of our salads, thank God. Only a few carrots left over. And these sales that we're going to get in the next couple of hours are hopefully just going to help us get to our sales goal. Magically now we're at 160,000. We shot right up, which was thanks to the sale of the necklace. So we only have to sell another $30,000 worth of items, and we should be okay to nab first place again. And since I don't have any more items to put out, now I can just focus on sales. I don't have to go into my menu. I can really just ring my bell like crazy and get the attention of people, hopefully. Still a very large crowd. It's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I feel like we got good RNG with the crowd today because the crowd kind of tends to thin as the day goes on. You get the peak afternoon shoppers, and then sometimes it's a little bit slower later on in the day, but it's 4 o'clock and we'll still go in pretty strong here. Now that I say that, it's probably gonna slow down dramatically, and the next few hours are gonna be really slow and really painful. But this has actually been better than my last bazaar. The last bazaar was really slow, really uneventful. I ended up cutting out huge chunks of time where I was just sitting here ringing my bell and nobody was coming. And it was kind of just dead air because there wasn't much going on for me to talk about, but this has been a really nice day because it's almost 5 o'clock and we're still having people talk with us, we still have customers, and we have just gotten over the $200,000 mark. So I am really impressed with how nicely things have gone today. Really smooth. It's gone by very quickly because the customers have kept me really busy today. And we are just down to seeds now, but even still, people are coming to buy a few things here. Which at this point is just gravy, just a little bit of extra cash. But we're probably not going to get much more than this as we wind down to close the stall. 220. I'm more than okay with that. That's way better than I thought we were gonna do. That's excellent. I'm gonna close the stand now and do some shopping of my own. Okay. So, Chen has rice today, and he also has curry powder. I am gonna buy large quantities of both of these items so that I can use them to do some cooking. Rice and curry powder are both needed to make different kinds of curries. Rice is really versatile for a lot of things. So I don't want to get too carried away because they do have a freshness value. I will buy 25, which I still feel like is a lot, but hopefully not too much. I had a look at some of the food stalls, but there really wasn't anything that was jumping out at me. However, I may buy the fish paste. The only reason is because it's hard for me to remember which fish you can actually use for this if I do a little bit more fishing in the future. So it's easier if I already have the recipe, and it's dirt cheap. 120 bucks to learn that recipe. Not really anything else that I want from any of the other stalls at this time. Nelly also doesn't have anything that I want, and neither does Joan, but I am keeping my eye out for all the different kinds of food. I'm also going to skip on chocolate for now. I'd like a little bit more of my wheat to come in so I have more access to flour before I start doing baking. But fortunately for me, Felix always sells chocolate. I don't have to worry about not being able to get my hands on that. And I'm gonna buy 2 buckwheat flour. Two should be all that I need. to make a few recipes. And then finally, over here at Diego's, I had noticed he still had a Blue Wonderful for sale. We bought one at our previous bazaar, and it's annoying because he won't let us buy a second one. It has taken him this long to sell Wonderfuls, and he will only sell us one of each color, as it turns out. I find that incredibly irritating that I can't just buy one and put one in every windmill. The plus side is that we can take our Blue Wonderful and we can swap it in between all of our windmills. It's not like it's stuck in one and that's it, but that still is really annoying. Maybe they just thought you would be really overpowered if you had the ability to shorten the making time of all of your windmills. I also haven't had a chance to put mine in my windmill yet because I had something being made that was taking a super long time. But in practice, I had gone and put the Wonderful into one of the windmills because I thought maybe he wouldn't sell it to me based on the fact that it's sitting in my inventory, but that is not the case. That is tragic because, again, $10,000 at this point is not a lot of money to pay, and it is money I would pay if I were able to buy a second one, so that's a shame. But at least I was able to buy a couple of things, and I should be able to do some more cooking, which is always exciting. Use up some more of the stuff that I've been holding on to. Second place was 170,000. So we are still getting first by a long shot here. $50,000 in this case. We were ahead of the game. Next time I'll win. You say that every time, and I don't think you've been first once. And we definitely redeemed ourselves. I think we could have ripped off a couple of more customers, to be honest, and we still would have been able to fix those mistakes because it was busy. It was a busy, steady crowd. Much busier than I was anticipating. We're gonna take our peach can prize. And we are apparently getting close to being the best bazaar in the world. I think that's what he said last time as well. So I don't know how much money is close, what the game considers close. But we still have one last bazaar in this season coming up at the end of this week. We have the wine festival, which we may have to skip this year. I don't actually think I have any wine to contribute, tragically. And then before you know it, fall will be over and done with, and we will be heading into the coldness of winter once again. So I'm probably gonna have a pretty uneventful week compared to last week, but I will update you all as things go on if there's anything exciting to talk about. And if not, then I will be back on the 23rd for the wine festival and the 24th for Bazaar Day. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.